Tsangdu. Tsangdu, Santu, is a Quincy and a member of the Wandenreika's Sternritter with the designation I, the Iron. The Thousand-Year Blood War Arc. Upon receiving the orders of Yawach, Tsang and the other Sternritter gather at the Gate of the Sun before traveling to the Siriitii in order to participate in the conquest of Soul Society. Once there, he and the others create pillars of blue flame prior to engaging the Shinigami in battle. Tsang encounters 10th Division Captain Toshiro Hitsugaya. After repeatedly breaking the captain's ice with his rapier claws and blocking his sword strikes with his hardened skin, Tsang has his arm frozen. He breaks free, sending Hitsugaya flying. When Hitsugaya activates his Bankai, Daiguren Hyarinmaru, Tsang uses his medallion to steal it. During the course of their battle, Tsang uses the captain's Bankai against him. When Captain Commander Genryusai Shigekuni Yamamoto activates his own Bankai during his fight against Yawach, all of the water in Soul Society begins to evaporate, including the ice which composes the stolen Daiguren Hyarinmaru. Later, when Ichigo Kurosaki arrives in Soul Society, Tsang is surprised when Shizdamono's Ryatsu abruptly vanishes. Later, after the Wandenreika's retreat from Soul Society, Tsang is present when Yawach declares Yuryu Ishida will be his successor. Following the announcement, he, Bazz-B, Masked Masculine, and BG9 discuss the announcement, with Tsang remaining silent. During the Wandenreika's second invasion of Soul Society, Tsang arrives on the scene just as Bazz-B is about to attack Hitsugaya and reminds Bazz-B they promised to leave the captains to the ones who stole their Bankai. Moving forward, Tsang states he will have the final blow. As Tsang moves in on Hitsugaya, Bazz-B says he will be punished by Yawach for stealing his prey. Stating Yawach is the one who decided the captains should be left to the Sternritter who stole their Bankai, Tsang opens his cloak and drops an unconscious 10th Division Lieutenant Ranjiku Matsumoto onto the floor. Saying the two of them should die together, Tsang reveals his epithet to be the Iron. Activating Daiguren Hyarinmaru, Tsang says it is a beautiful Bankai and notes it was also something which lived alongside Hitsugaya before stating it makes him very sad to steal only Hitsugaya's Bankai and let it live on after Hitsugaya's death. When Hitsugaya touches the Shinyaku pill sent to him by Kasuke Urahara, Tsang asks him what it is. As the pill takes effect, one of the wings of Daiguren Hyarinmaru suddenly snaps off in a splatter of blood, much to Tsang's shock. As this happens, Tsang checks his medallion and determines it is working normally before wondering why Daiguren Hyarinmaru is starting to return to Hitsugaya. As he regains part of the ice wing which Tsang lost, Hitsugaya says Daiguren Hyarinmaru may have felt like going home. Pointing out the Sternritter are taught to control the Bankai which they have stolen, Tsang attempts to attack Hitsugaya with ice, but it redirects itself before reaching him, prompting Hitsugaya to tell him to not push the Bankai too hard, for it cannot attack itself. Resorting to hand-to-hand combat, Tsang notes Hitsugaya had mentioned something of the sort before and tells him to stop talking as though Bankai have minds of their own. When Hitsugaya regains full control of Daiguren Hyarinmaru, Tsang attempts to use Shijin Zhao, but he is encased in a giant, cross-shaped flower of ice. Stating the cross-shaped flower is Hyarinmaru's emblem, Hitsugaya apologizes for not making it a 5-pointed cross instead. Later, after Hitsugaya collapses, Tsang activates his Quincy, Volstandig, shattering the ice prison in the process. Later, at the Wandenreik HQ, BG9 and Tsang sit tied up before Yawach, who says he is going to judge the Sternritter who lost. As Yawach has Hashwalth step forward, BG9 begs him to wait, though Yawach only says they should be grateful for having survived their battles. Stating the scales of the fight must be fair, Hashwalth holds out his sword and says the life saved by their good luck will be terminated by the same amount of misfortune before slashing at Tsang, only to express surprise when his blade is stopped. Asking Hashwalth if he forgot about his epithet, Tsang states it is easy to stop Hashwalth's blade as his skin grows darker. Telling Hashwalth to cut him down if he is able, Tsang proclaims he will not be cut down by anyone but Yawach. Noting this is Tsang's second piece of good luck, Hashwalth asks him if he can see the tilted scales before slicing through Tsang's body. Appearance. Tsang is a fairly slim man with narrow pale blue eyes and short black hair, with pointed bangs hanging between his eyes. He has a small, vertical scar over the left side of his mouth. His attire is a variation of the Sternritter's typical white uniform, consisting of the Order's signature hooded cloak, a trench coat like GI ending just past his waist with a black sash, and a pair of black fingerless gloves. Personality. Tsang is a very stoic individual. He had very little reaction to Yawach's appointment of the newly recruited Yuryu Ishida as his successor, while the news caused anger and confusion among his comrades. Tsang believes things which existed together in life should exist together in death, a principle which he goes out of his way to enforce. He does not believe in pantheism, claiming Bankai have no minds of their own. He is very loyal to Emperor Yawach and refuses to be killed by anyone besides him, including Jugram Hashwal. Equipment. Medallion. Cang possesses a round device which is roughly the size of a person's palm and has the Wandenrake insignia etched onto its surface. When activated, the device can steal a currently released Bankai in the immediate vicinity, as evidenced when Cang used it to take 10th Division Captain Toshiro Hitsugaya's Daiguren Hyarinmaru. Afterwards, the medallion's owner can use the stolen Bankai's power at will. Since hollow powers are poisonous to Quincy, when the Bankai was hollowified via the Shinyaku, it was returned to its original Shinigami owner. Being in possession of a Bankai prevented Cang from activating Quincy, Volstandig. Light Enhant. Cang wears a Light Enhant on his hand, which allows him to activate Quincy, Volstandig as long as he is not in possession of a Shinigami's Bankai. Powers and abilities. The Iron, G-Iron, Japanese for steel, Cang can coat his skin partially or fully in a layer of iron, making his body virtually invulnerable to physical harm while the ability is active. The iron is strong enough to withstand the sword strikes of 10th Division Captain Toshiro Hitsugaya without a scratch. He can also use his iron skin offensively and strategically. When his right arm was frozen during his first battle with Hitsugaya, Cang turned it to iron and rushed toward Hitsugaya with enough force to not only shatter the ice coating his arm against Hitsugaya's sword upon impact, but also send the latter flying back from the extra weight applied against him, all without suffering any injury in the process. Racier Manipulation. As a Quincy, he primarily absorbs spiritual energy from the atmosphere, and combines it with his own spiritual energy to form weapons. He has an easier time collecting this energy in environments with higher concentrations of Racier, such as in Soul Society or Hueco Mundo. Hirenkyaku Expert. Cang was able to use his speed to pressure and repeatedly attack Hitsugaya, giving him little time to block using his Bankai. Great Spiritual Power. Cang's spiritual power is on a level comparable to or greater than that of a captain-level Shinigami. This was proven when he effortlessly defeated 10th Division Lieutenant Ranjaku Matsumoto. Expert Hand-to-Hand Combatant. Cang is highly proficient in hand-to-hand combat. While fighting Hitsugaya, Cang delivered swift kicks to the ice wing of his Bankai, Daiguren Hyarinmaru, and kicked Hitsugaya into the air. Enhanced Endurance. Cang possesses a great tolerance for pain. When one of the wings of Daiguren Hyarinmaru snapped off his back after it was infected with hollow Ryatsu, wounding him in the process, Cang displayed no sign of being affected by the pain and kept fighting. Spirit Weapon. Racier Claws. Using his abilities as a Quincy, Cang can concentrate spirit energy and particles and form them into weapons. His favored weapons are a pair of claws with 4 curved blades, which he wears on the back of both wrists. His claws are strong enough to pierce through a wall of ice created by Hitsugaya's Hyarinmaru with ease. Shijin Zhao, Shijinso, Chinese for snake strong claws, viz. Snake claw. Cang points his arms at his target and places one fist over the other, so his wrists face away from one another, before launching a pair of energy blasts from his claws. Together, these blasts form the visage of a serpentine head. One blast forms its eye and top jaw, and the other forms its bottom jaw. Quincy, Volstandig. When this is activated, a substantial amount of Ryatsu is released, resulting in the formation of a towering column of energy that ends in a large Quincy cross, from which Cang emerges in the Quincy, Volstandig after the column shatters. The resulting release of energy is strong enough to shatter the ice prison that Hitsugaya trapped him in.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.